Welcome to Explore Hayat, the number one podcast in Dubai. And I'm your host, Kashif Hayat. And today we have an exciting episode lined up. If you have ever wondered whether studying in the UAE could be better than flying off to Europe, the US, or other parts of the world, this conversation is just for you.
So what happens is that when students go to the West, they want to fit in instead of stand out.
Right.
Because when they stand out, people judge them.
Can you say something in Kachi?
Ankiya yo aaj.
How are you today?
Yes.
There you go. I could pick it up.
Yeah.
Do students miss out on the Western culture experience if they stay here and study here all the time?
Absolutely not.
Not?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether you have studied in the US or in South Asia or in Africa or in Dubai.
Right.
What they see is that you have the right skill set for the job. They want that. The best part about university is the fact that you get to hear different perceptions and perspectives of people from around the world.
Wow, yeah.
And what they think about a certain issue.
Our guest today is Shaziya Laving, a journalist, mental health advocate, and someone who has lived, studied, and thrived in the UAE for the past 20 years. She's going to break down the truth about studying here versus going abroad. We will talk about costs, scholarships, campus life, the cultural vibe, and whether UAE degrees stack up against Western ones. We will dive into job opportunities in Dubai and across the GCC after graduation. So if you are confused about where to pursue your higher education, this episode is going to clear things up and help you make an informed decision. And hey, if you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share this podcast with your friends. Let's get started. Shaziya Laving. So how do you call it? Shaziya Laving or Loving?
Loving.
Loving.
Yes, loving.
Loving. So
Yeah.
Shaziya Laving. So you tell about yourself. So how is this surname, where it comes from? Because this is not usually from this area. This is
Yeah.
not Arabic. This is not from subcontinent. So,
Yeah, so basically, I'm from Kenya actually.
okay.
And I know I look Indian or Desi
Or Pakistani.
or Pakistani.
Yeah.
But I'm from Kenya.
You're from
I'm
Kenya.
an 8th generation Kenyan.
Right.
Yeah, that's my dad's surname. It came from decades ago
Right.
through generations of. It's not actually a Kenyan name.
Right.
In Kenya, there's a tribe called the Asian African tribe. And it's basically through the fact that Indians moved to Kenya generations ago. That's why I'm an 8th generation Kenyan. So 8 generations before me, Indians, there was a trade between India and Kenya because Kenya was under British East Africa and India was British Raj at that time. So there was also the Uganda and Kenya railway that was supposed to be built. So a lot of Indians moved from India to Kenya, and then they settled there eventually. And yeah, it's become a whole community. And recently in 2017, Kenya's government announced that we're the 44th tribe of Kenya.
Wow, 44th tribe.
Yeah. There were already 43 tribes in Kenya.
So now including you?
Yes, including Asian Africans, it's the 44th tribe. So there's Gujaratis, there's Parsis, there are Punjabis, and everyone lives in different cities in Kenya.
So these Gujaratis and these Sardars and Punjabis and all, they call like different generation, like 45th or 44th, or they all come in the 46th?
Yeah, so we're all the 44th
44th?
tribe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next one is somebody
Yeah,
else come and settle
yeah.
down for 45th.
No. So the tribe is the 44th tribe, but the generations basically they change because people came in through trading routes and
Okay.
as traders, and eventually settled down there and built their businesses there because the British wanted to bring more of India into Kenya.
So what's your first language?
My first language, oh, that's a tricky question. My first language, I'd say, is English, but my mother tongue is Kutchi.
Kutchi.
Yes. So there's a land in India called Kutch. It's near Gujarat.
Right.
And it's similar to Gujarati or similar to Sindhi, actually.
Right.
But so my grandparents speak Gujarati. And my parents speak Kutchi. I speak Kutchi too.
Right.
Understand a lot of Gujarati, but can't speak
Gujarati.
it too well. Yeah.
I see. Can you say something in Kutchi? We want to hear that. How does it sound?
Ankiya aj.
How are you today?
Yes.
There you go. I could pick it up.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Antika,
It's pretty much similar to Sindhi.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I
It
see.
is, it is.
It's not similar to Gujarati.
It's so, I guess there are a few words that are similar.
Right.
But because I guess I learned it during the same time.
Yeah.
But my parents speak Kutchi most.
Right.
So the Gujarati that I know from my grandparents and the elders in our community. So in Gujarati, it would be like, Tame kem cho?
Yeah, tame kem cho?
Tame
Majama
kem
chu?
cho? Majama. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right. So what is the first language in Kenya which everybody speaks a national language?
So the national language is Swahili.
Swahili.
Yeah.
You speak Swahili as well?
I speak a little Swahili, yes. I was very fluent when I was younger. But then as I moved to Dubai, when I was 7, I moved to Dubai. And eventually then the language just, faded away. I got more into English.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know a lot of Swahili. Habari yako? Mzuri sana. That's so. Habari yako is how are you? How are you doing?
Right.
Mzuri sana is very good, very well.
Nice.
Yeah.
It sounds something like Japanese because I can relate it very much. Like when you don't practice much, any language, it starts to fade away.
Exactly.
I used to speak some Japanese because I lived in Japan for some time.
Yeah.
So it was like very much fluent when you are speaking, but now it has faded away. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
You moved to Dubai when you were in your early childhood, like 7 years of age, and you did your all schooling here, college, university. So today I would like to learn more about your unique experience studying in UAE, in particular because our audience, they are mostly youth, young ones. So they want to know more about, should they consider studying in UAE? Because most of the youth from the subcontinental region, our surrounding area here, they want to go just to the Western universities, USA, UK. This is on their minds. So is there any comparison of studies? How would you relate studying in UAE? Because there are so many universities and you yourself one example, and studying abroad like other Western countries.
Right. So I moved here when I was 7. I did most of my schooling here. The thing about the UAE is that it's so diverse and so multicultural that you have people from your own country, people from South Asia, people from the Philippines, people from Africa, different parts of Africa. And I think you get into that blend of different multicultural race, So growing up here, it's not just about having Arab friends, which I did. I had a lot of Arab classmates, Egyptians, Syrians, Iraqis. But also, it's so multicultural that it's so great that you get to learn from all these people. And then you get so used to being around this environment that's so multicultural that also, because they have also been brought up here, and actually a lot of this generation have been born here. So they were born here, they were brought up here, and Dubai is their home. Dubai is home. So for us, it's so easy to respect one another, to respect one another's religion, to respect one another's clothing, you know, and that respect, you get so used to it that when you decide you want to go to the West, we aren't really prepared, especially the younger generation aren't. I mean, even if it's my generation, we're all human beings. There's always going to be some kind of influence. But if you're not strong enough to withstand peer pressure already, or you're not mentally prepared as to this is what you're going to face in the West as opposed to Middle East, which is way more comfortable.
I see.
The life here is more comfortable. The fact that you can practice religion more comfortably here. You know, you're not criticized for what you believe in, or the way you dressed, you're not judged based on that. Or the fact that you may not be as easily influenced by people abroad. Because there will always be a certain time when everyone wants to go to the West. You know, we have been brought up with this illusion and this perception that the West is everything.
Yeah.
The West is great. It's all the glitter and glamour of life. The American dream, as they say.
Yeah.
So you go there, you work, you earn really good money. You get to do a lot of things, a lot of different things in the West. The opportunities are better. That is the perception that has been put into us.
Right.
It's all about the West. And yes, at some point after I finished schooling, I did think of going to the US because I'm a journalist and I wanted to study journalism.
Yeah.
And the journalism that I wanted to study, there wasn't much scope in Dubai at the time, especially. So I did want to study in the West, America in specific. And then I took a gap year and I redirected my whole attention into what I wanted to actually do in life. And eventually I decided to study in Dubai. I went to Middlesex University. Of course, in terms of the fees, it was much better. Much better.
Okay. Your fees better here in UAE?
Definitely much better. Because there, of course, now here I had my parents already, so accommodation wasn't really an issue.
Okay.
But for those also coming from abroad, here accommodation isn't that big of an issue because, like for Middlesex University, there are different accommodations and it's not as expensive as you'd see it in the West. You know, the fees for the curriculum that you're studying, or the number of years that also you're studying, it's way easier here. And the life here is more comfortable.
I see.
I guess that's the reason I decided to just stay in Dubai. It's not like that there weren't opportunities in terms of job opportunities. Of course, there are different prospects.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's good to be here.
So you wanted to go to the West, especially you say like America, but then you took a break and your mind shifted from the glittery life to this, what would you call it, the gloomy life? Or like what life you wanted to move into? And why did you switch your mind?
The comfortable life, I'd say.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
So how did you realize that the life in the Western, when you are studying in the West, is not as comfortable as you are studying here?
Because at the time, one of my main driving factors was finance. I'll be honest. Yeah.
Most of the students have the same problem.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's financial issues, and nowadays you have to go to university. It's not like having a bachelor's degree is not a big deal as it used to be.
True.
You know, now you need to have a master's and a PhD, and you need to do more, achieve more in terms of education to be able to be recognized. So every student will want to go to university. It's just the fact that Dubai in specific, or the UAE in specific, they have international institutions based here. So they have UK institutions based here. They have US institutions based here. They have Indian institutions based here. The thing is that it's like better. It's like the West, but better.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of the fact that in Dubai, you don't get the same kind of peer pressure that you'd get in the West.
Okay.
Because in the West, if you are not sure about yourself in terms of the fact that you don't like your own culture, or you're not self-aware, or you're not you don't have that kind of integrity that you can say no to peer pressure, then it's very easy to be influenced. It's so easy because anyone would want to try and fit in. So what happens is that when students go to the West, they want to fit in instead of stand out.
Right.
Because when they stand out, people judge them. And they don't want that. People don't want to be judged constantly. People don't want to be criticized. People want friends.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're away from home, that kind of isolation and solitude it's very depressing.
Right. You mentioned about like so many different countries, campuses are here.
Yes.
If you want to study in UK, so you have options from UK universities, colleges, institutions. If you want to go to US, you have options here. From Canada, you have option here.
Yes.
So can you say like this is one place with lots of options? The whole world, universities, institutions, campuses are here.
Definitely.
So you can choose from.
Yes.
And you mentioned about the monetary wise. It's not as expensive as studying over there.
Yeah.
How much is the difference?
So the average in Dubai is 35,000 dirhams to 70 dirhams. That's the average.
Which is like, let's say $10,000.
Yeah.
Less than $10,000.
Yes, exactly. And in the US, it's far more costly. Far more costly. I wouldn't know the exact amount, but depending on the university, if it's an Ivy school, it's different, and I think it's the best place to be in because institution wise there is Middlesex University, which is the university I went to, there is Murdoch University, there is Heriot Watt University, which is I think the first British university in Dubai, there is University of Birmingham, and in Abu Dhabi, there is New York University, NYU,
Wollongong
Abu
University
Dhabi.
from Australia, you'll find American University in Dubai, American University Sharjah, Canadian University. So there's so many universities we know.
There are very many options.
Many
options. And the thing is that even if you don't want to study at an international institution, we have, there's also American University of Dubai, American University of Sharjah, which are two of the most popular ones here. But I'd say that the kind of people that you're surrounded with are people who aren't going to judge you based on what you look like, because these are the people who have been brought up here and they know the culture, they know the religion of the UAE. They respect that. There's a lot of tolerance in this country. And with the rise of Islamophobia in the West, especially in today's climate, I'd say it's so much more difficult to gain acceptance. And why should you want to gain acceptance? You've gone there to study, and peer pressure is everywhere. I'd say
even here
there's peer pressure.
I think even in schools, in colleges, everywhere.
Absolutely.
A job as well.
Or to withstand peer pressure, it's difficult. But it's the kind of peer pressure that's in the West is inclusive of being judged of who you are and where you come from.
Okay, people, they ask you where you come from. So what's your nationality?
Exactly.
They ask you.
What's your nationality, or go back to where you've come from, or they're quite racist. I'm not saying all. And
not all, of course, you don't talk about.
The point here is not to like vilify. I'm not vilifying the West, or it's just to change the perception of it, that it's not all good, as they say. You know, it's not all great, and there are other options that can lead you to a good career path. You know, it's not just the West.
So when you talked about fitting in, when you try to fit into different culture, different environment, because you have grown up in a different culture, different values, different religion, and then you go to another culture where this is their culture, this is their environment, this is their religion, this is where they grew up, and then you try to fit in that, and then there is a mismatch. And then you try to limit yourself. Do you think fitting in really brings one of the biggest hindrance for the people, those who really want to become something, want to grow up, want to learn
Definitely.
something?
I think in terms of growth, personal growth, it hinders you a lot. If you don't respect where you have come from, you can't expect someone else to respect that.
Right.
Because then there'll be constant disrespect and there's constant judgment. If you embrace your culture and if you embrace your religion, you love it,
Yeah.
and you love yourself for being in it, then there's no one else who can come and tell you otherwise. You will not be able to succumb to peer pressure, to the fact that, no, to be able to make friends, I need to do a certain thing.
Right.
Wear lesser clothes, or act in a certain way, or make myself white. In fact, there are a lot of South Asians who have been brought up and born and brought up in the US. They themselves are trying to find their identity. And in the way that before they weren't accepting their culture. They were far away from their culture. But now they are more accepting towards it. They're okay with wearing traditional clothing, wearing traditional jewelry in public. You know, it's not a taboo anymore with this generation.
Yeah.
It's changing, you know. And the sad part is that these South Asian Americans, Indian Americans, Pakistani Americans, they understand now. But for the students and the generation living in South Asia they don't see that how much they're given in terms of culture. So when they get to a place where they're given that much freedom, and the fact that they don't know how to maintain their boundaries, if you don't know how to maintain your boundaries, then you can easily be swayed into becoming like them, into becoming white, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not surrounded by a support system that can tell you it's okay to be the way you are. It's okay to be dark-skinned, or it's okay to be a different color from different people. It's okay to wear your traditional clothing. Embrace it. Is what I'd say.
Yeah. So does Dubai offer that student vibe seems or similar like
definitely.
in the West?
Yeah, definitely. So because I also know how to speak Urdu as well. I learned how to speak Urdu. That's why a lot of people assume I'm Pakistani or Indian. But most of my friends are South Asian. My whole group in university was South Asian. Most of my classmates as well were South Asians. So you're surrounded by people who are close to your culture.
Right.
So as an Asian African, my culture is inclusive of the Kenyan culture as well as the Desi culture, the South Asian culture, because my ancestors came with their culture, the South Asian culture. So the fact that I relate more to these girls is great, because it makes university life better in terms of the fact that you're constantly in your mind, you're not fearful about is there something going to happen to you? Is someone going to attack you? Is someone going to verbally abuse you? Or if you're wearing the hijab, is someone going to attack you for it? And this has been happening a lot in the West. And it's not just been happening... it's not even 5 years, it's just recently. The riots that happened in the UK and the attacks that were happening on Muslim people because of misinformation that went around about stabbing. And it's just, they need a certain trigger. And that trigger, because Islamophobia is already embedded into the system and into their minds, it's so easy to be racist towards people, you know. And it's difficult to see that people have to constantly prove themselves and state that, no, we are not like these people, you know, or we are not as you think, or how the media portrays us.
Very interesting, because you are coming from a journalism background, which we are going to talk about it
Yes,
later on
yeah.
after the university thing. And we will talk about how does it happen, how people, they start to believe it so easily that they're ready to hit someone for that,
Yeah.
just without any fact finding,
Yeah.
without understanding. If Shazia is coming from different background, it does not mean that if she's covering herself, does not mean that she is terrorist. She has got some own values which she is following, which she believes. So it's better for them to understand and dig it more to understand, so that they can tolerate each other and spend time together, study together. But this doesn't happen, because probably when you talked about the media, which is playing a biggest role probably.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, so do you see, like, is there any difference in the study style when you study in here and you study in there? Because again, the cultural difference is there. People, they are much more open. When you talk about the Western universities or the Western culture, people, they are quite vocal. But coming back from this region, when we are talking about South Asia, subcontinental region, people kind of bit shy. They are thinking before, should I ask, shouldn't I shouldn't ask. Somebody shouldn't mind it asking this question. So people, they pay more attention to it. So how do you find the difference in the classes when you take in the university?
In the classes, I'd say, because so I went to Middlesex University, which is a British university, so the curriculum was British, and I think the thing is that the students who came from an Indian school background, for example, I went to also a British school, Oxford, in Dubai.
Yeah.
The way of learning is different as opposed to an Indian style of learning. Because an Indian style of learning is their exams, I'd say, to the point, and they don't help you think out of the box.
Okay.
Yeah. So a British style of learning is they help you think out of the box.
Right.
You have to think out of the box. They force you to. They bring in your own perception, bring in your own point of views. And I've always been vocal. So when I entered that classroom, studying something that I love, I was very vocal about it. And it was very easy to speak to the professors. The best part about university is the fact that you get to hear different perceptions and perspectives of people from around the world.
Wow, yeah.
And what they think about a certain issue.
Yeah.
You know, that is everywhere, whether it's in the West or it's here.
Yeah.
But here, I had a classmate from Ghana, and I had a classmate from Romania, and then there was me coming from Kenya with a South Asian, a Desi. So we had different perspectives on different topics. And all of us were quite vocal about it.
Yeah.
It's just that comfort level. Once we get to that comfort level, everyone has space to speak what they want to speak.
Yeah.
In the classroom, no one says like anything to stop them. Everyone can, unless it's offensive or abusive or any of such things. But usually it's so easy to speak in a classroom because our professors are all British. We had an American professor also. It's very easy to speak to them.
Yeah.
And despite being British or American professors, they are very understanding of our culture.
Yeah.
Of how we think. They don't judge based on what we look like.
Right.
So if there's an American student in class or there's a South Asian student in class, they're not going to judge you based on what you look like or where you're from. Not at all. Not at all. They don't even judge you. They basically judge you based on what you bring.
Yeah.
So your merits, how you're saying what you perceive, your opinions. So in class, you are forced to speak.
What about outside class?
Outside class, we are full of more opinions.
Yeah?
Way more opinions.
But people are still respectful to each other?
Definitely. We are so respectful of one another. Yes, there was a time in class where I had a disagreement with one of my male classmates about the number of sexual harassment cases against. We were talking about gender equality, and we were talking about the fact that a lot of females go through sexual harassment and all of that. And obviously, every single time we speak about women empowerment, men also say, what about us? You know, it's never otherwise. It's never on other days that we speak about the men.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the disagreement led to him walking out of class. But of course, it's all amicable. There's no such thing as people disregarding, even if we have different of opinions. Our professor takes in all our opinions,
Right.
and even amongst one another,
Yeah.
we're very tolerant of one another. It's not like we're going to start judging based on
Right.
a specific thing. I've had several disagreements based on sexual preferences also, which I don't agree with on different terms, and yeah, I mean, it's ongoing. We
ongoing.
learn from one another. We agree to disagree, and that's okay. We're very tolerant of one another, and sometimes your perception just changes when you hear someone else speaking.
True.
And I think that's great about university life, because at our British university we have lectures and seminars. So lectures are basically where we hear directly from the professor. We don't speak or anything. It's just a 1-hour lecture. And then seminars is where we have to speak to one another. We have to give out our opinions, and yeah, there's place for everyone to shine. I'd say.
Very good. Everyone
Yeah.
to shine in the
Yeah.
university. Yes, definitely. Okay. Is there any scholarship programs in the UAE that those who cannot afford completely? Because you see in the Western countries, there are some scholarship programs. So people, they
Yes.
look for those
Yeah.
programs. How about in UAE? Are there such scholarship programs available? If somebody wants to apply for, how to apply?
So there are scholarship programs and grants given to international students. It depends on the university that you're going to. So I'd suggest you go to the university website and apply for the grant. They're very efficient at responding. Even if you email any university, they're very efficient. And especially more so with international students, because they want students from abroad.
Yeah.
I'd say it's very easy to get in touch with anyone if you have any inquiry. There are grants like I had. So when you get to university and you finish your first year, then you can get an academic scholarship as well. So I was on the dean's list of academic excellence, and for that I got a scholarship. So you basically, like any other university, you have to maintain it each year. You have to maintain your grades, and then you obviously get the scholarship. But yeah, there are lots of options for people, especially from South Asia. There are a lot of students coming in, different countries in Africa. There are a lot of students coming in. So yes, there are options.
Good. Are degrees received in UAE, they are recognized globally?
Yes, depending on the university, they are attested. So they are tested by KHDA, of course. And yes, they are globally attested.
Okay. How about after taking the degree from here, of course, how do you see, because when people, they talk about going to the Western countries, they say after we complete our education, then we have more opportunities. We get immediately some jobs, even early, the basic jobs, but then they grow, they see the opportunity, and then they involve in that life, and then they never come back to their families. This also happens, by the way.
Yeah.
Many cases, not all of them though. What about here? So
in terms of placements, definitely.
Yeah.
The thing is, so I studied journalism and media, and at very early on, we are taught how to network, consistently network, because we are in the media industry. Our professors used to take us for different conferences, the Air Show, a sports conference in Abu Dhabi, different conferences. And then my journalism professor, this is what he used to do. He used to take us, leave us there. Okay, he'll give us like 1 hour, go get stories.
Okay.
So we were forced to speak to people. We were forced to network with them. We were forced to get stories, sports stories, the good stories, and be able to write it in an article, feature articles. So that's how it used to be. And our professors are very well connected to the industry, especially from in the media industry. My professors were highly connected. So there were always part-time jobs. Like there was the option of doing part-time jobs during university, and even after they give you placements. So you have like career fairs and all of that, where you get to meet really big people. I think the best part about living here is the fact that the people here, it's easier to approach them. It's easier to approach the big people, I'd say.
True.
So it's much easier to network with them, as opposed to the States, where you just like at a certain level you can only speak to some people. Here you speak to CEOs, you speak to owners of businesses, you speak to the top-notch people, and it's you, and then you market yourself.
Then you get opportunity. And they don't say that because you studied in UAE and you haven't studied in USA, so you're not going to get...
So here, the fact that they only see what you bring to the table, your experience, the merits you have, the skills sets that you've gotten. It doesn't matter whether you have studied in the US or in South Asia or in Africa or in Dubai. What they see is that you have the right skill set for the job. They want that. In the West, they might judge you based on what you look like, because they need a certain criteria sometimes. It may not be easy for a brown-looking person to get. In fact, even in Canada, there are certain people who face that issue. Not all, and not all companies are like that. But there are certain places where, because if you're brown skinned, they don't take you. They don't hire you for a certain job. But here it's not like that, because it's a very inclusive country. It's very diverse. So there would be no reason not to take someone who looks a different way.
I agree with that, because Dubai is somehow, because we have got so many friends around here from different nationalities, and it's quite a diverse culture here. It's quite a vibrant place. So people, they come from different mindset. Let's say from completely white country or completely black country or brown country, whatever. They come here, they are colorless. And everybody shares the same kind of a culture, same kind of similar jokes, respect each other. They start to understand more, become more tolerant.
Absolutely.
So this is true. And when you talked about getting the placement in the good corporates and companies here, recently I was invited as a guest speaker in one of the universities here in UAE. And the main purpose for them to invite me was because they said they don't want somebody who is retired from the business and want to talk about something. They want someone who is in the field, who knows about business, is still doing business, and connected. So what I had to do is, all those final year students, those who were going to get into the market for the placement, to present themselves. So just to make them acquaint with this environment, the corporate culture, with the job environment, how you should think, like how you should speak, what is your communication way, how do you approach them, and at the same time get them connected with these corporates, so the best fit they can find for each other. So it means universities are working for the better placement of their students in this UAE. This is what I can witness that anyways, what you are saying.
Absolutely. Even the top companies, it may be easier to get into a top company here as opposed to in the West. Because First of all, the market there, of course, even here, it's very saturated.
Yeah.
The job market at the moment worldwide is very difficult to break into.
True.
Getting jobs has become very tough. But I'd say yes, if you're like, I was part of the CNN Academy. So an opportunity like that doesn't present itself very often because obviously because the market is way more in the West. There's more competition, I'd say, and it's different.
Before we get into your CNN Academy experience, because that's very, very interesting, and that gets into your profession, it's because you're coming from the media background and journalism. So I wanted to ask you, what cultural challenges do international students they face? Let's talk about some Americans. You said they are also studying here, some Europeans studying here, and some other countries. So once they study here, because as you mentioned, people going from this region to that region face problems. What about them? Cultural difference, what difference do they face here? What problems, challenges?
I don't think they face any challenge, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think the challenges, I think it would be safe to say that often Europeans and white people don't have the same challenges as people of color have. Especially in terms of opportunities. Here people do want
Western people to
come. They want to hire. Yes, some companies do want to hire specifically a white person for the job, or a European for the job, depending on their passport. It gives them a sense of, being an international company.
Somehow people are more receptive here for the Western people.
Definitely.
They come, they enjoy here, and then they also start to understand probably this culture.
I think they like the culture here.
I agree.
Like you said, they start enjoying the culture because once they start understanding the culture, as opposed to what the media has shown them in the West. It's so much easier to speak to people, for them to it's as simple as saying the words mashallah or subhanallah. Randomly I'll hear someone saying like I was just outside right now and I met a Filipino lady and she's like good luck on your interview. Alhamdulillah. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. So people are they become very accepting of the culture. They start respecting it.
Agree.
And the West aren't as rich in culture as people of color. I mean, of course, they respect their elders and they have these festivals that they celebrate depending on their religious views and, all of that. But culturally, people of color they're very deep into it because our ancestors have consistently shared it with generations to come. That's why we're so deep into these cultures, because we're constantly taught about how to respect elders, or which festivals to go to, or how to speak to people, how to greet people. It's a vast array of things that other people don't see. So like there are certain, especially when you talk about traditional clothing, let's take traditional clothing, for example. There are so many. The Arabs have a different way of clothing, that even in different parts of the Middle East, there are different types of traditional clothing. In the UAE, there are Bedouins who dress up completely differently. We have the henna culture here. People, a lot of the West, when they come here and then they go for maybe desert safari or something. They're very culturally, they like
diversified
culture. They appreciate culture because they're not as rich in culture as people of color, I'd say. Or around the world, what people like dress up in, or the traditional clothing, or wear a sari, for example. Or in Kenya, there are a lot of, I used to wear a lot of beads in university, a lot of beads. It was basically me trying to tell everyone and announce I'm Kenyan, just so you know.
Right.
But I'd say that a lot of people used to ask me then, what's this and why do you wear so many beads and, all of that. And it's a Maasai culture, which is a tribe in Kenya.
Yeah.
They wear a lot of beads.
Okay.
And there are certain clothing in Kenya that I used to wear, like shawls and specific things that are from there. So I guess the fact that the West, when they come here, they observe a lot of things. Like, for example, Karak chai. Karak chai is like culture. Okay, it's a Desi culture.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. And now every human walking in the UAE knows what Karak chai is and has to have it. So, or like having a shawarma, it's as simple as that, or like wearing a kandura, seeing a woman in a niqab, for example, and they appreciate this culture once they see that it's not threatening.
No.
This is not threatening.
Yeah.
It's not like, and it's not like the people here say, you can't be part of our culture. The fact that it's so diverse that a lot of Pakistanis have their own celebrations and UAE's into it. Indians have their own celebrations and, they are part of it, like Independence Days and, all of that. And Filipinos, we learn a lot from them. And it's just so culturally diversified that when you go to other countries, you wonder, Dubai is definitely, or the UAE is definitely quite different from other places.
Yeah, that's so true. Even they find here, like, even the Christmas is being celebrated here.
Yes.
Easter is being celebrated here. So every nationality is celebrating. Every religion is celebrating here. And so people, but they learn how to mix and tolerate and live together peacefully. This is the beautiful part of Dubai, definitely.
Yeah.
We have to accept it.
Trying to force someone into what you want to.
No, we don't.
become.
Now, when we talk about, for them, basically, it's exotic culture here, because this is what I understand.
Yes.
What you are trying to say is the cultural difference both countries they have, because for us, mostly it's coming from religious background.
Yes.
Our culture is dominated by the religion. But in the Western culture, now religion, because is not dominating the culture, it's more of a Western culture, I would say. So once they come here and they see these kind of a family bonds, the relationship, not shaking hands, not hugging each other, not touching each other, wearing hijab, men behaving this with women, and then, family style and different. So this is exotic for them.
Yes.
And once they start to understand, they start to enjoy it more, and then they start to accept it. It's working. It's working, and that's why probably this is one of the things. But my question is, do students miss out on the Western culture experience if they stay here and study here all the time?
Absolutely not.
Not?
No.
Okay. Now explain a bit more.
Do they miss out on the Western? No. Experience, I'd say there are lots of experiences in Dubai. There's a lot of things you can do in Dubai in terms of activities, in university itself, there are different clubs that you can join, different opportunities that you have here, different competitions that happen worldwide, global competitions but are based in the UAE, different activities that you can go do with your friends. I mean, there isn't a speck of thing that the UAE has left untouched.
Okay, good.
Everything international. And everyone knows this. Dubai loves having everything in their own place, So that's why they created Global Village.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a Taj Mahal that's there, okay? Right. Or like they want, and they know that they would like everything to be in one place so that people don't go to the West. They don't have to go rather to the West to see anything.
They provide everything here.
They provide everything.
So if you want to be religious, there are so many mosques, there are temples, everything, churches. Go and do whatever you want. If you want some Western culture, they have lots of places, good beaches and good
beaches, resorts. And the thing is, it's so much more comfortable. I think the life here is is comfortable.
Yeah.
It's comfort. Even in terms of like, let's say for students, I've seen a lot of school students also using public transport. The public transport here is so much more comfortable as opposed to the West. And it's safer. The best part about Dubai, the UAE, is that it's safe.
Yeah, so true.
Especially for women. It's very safe. You know, women walk on the streets at 2 a.m. and they know they're okay. Yeah, we as women always have that mindset that we have to be wary at all times. But it's safer. The country is much safer than as opposed to the West. And you get everything that the experiences that you get in the West, you get everything here. It's just the same thing, but better. You know, it's safer. I wouldn't say... No, I mean, like, seriously, it's not that I'd say don't go to the West.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not vilifying it. It's just, when I say better, I mean because people want that comfortable life. People like that comfortable life. I'd say, the UAE is a good place to come. Yeah. And the thing is that most universities provide transfers. So, for example, if you come to university and you join Middlesex, after 2 years or after 1 year of studying at Middlesex in Dubai, you can transfer to the UK.
So to get that experience.
Yes, there's always that option.
And also they have exchange programs here.
They have exchange programs. NYUAD has exchange programs. So a lot of New York universities now want to. They are all embedded with one another. NYU, AD, NYU in New York. And in fact, NYU in New York has started a whole exchange program thing where they want students to now go out of the country to, especially in terms of journalism, or if they're studying if they're studying journalism, you know, they can get experience from other countries.
True. How about getting the part-time job here? Like people, they study there and they get the term break and then they work, they earn some money, pay their fees. How about these opportunities? Are they available in UAE?
Yes, I'd say they are available. Part-time jobs are there. During my time, there weren't as many as there are now. Because now that the industry is changing and they're noticing that there are a lot of students coming in. There are more than 30,000 international students, by the way.
Wow.
Like the number has shot up to like more than 12% in 2023.
Okay.
So there are many students coming in. And I graduated in 2020.
Yeah.
So while I was in university, yes, there were still part-time jobs. A lot of my friends used to work at the time. But now there are way more. The thing is that there are some jobs that there are a few internships that don't pay.
Yeah.
But they're at good companies and they give you that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
However, there are other part-time jobs that do pay.
I think now the way of doing the job or the internship has also changed, because now you see most of the young ones, they're studying, but they're learning how to do the editing. They learn AI. They learn how to edit on CapCut or the different kind of software. They already learn and they practice, and then they can sell their services while working from home part-time. So these options are also open now as compared to the time before.
Yeah, I do have a friend's brother who works part-time as a social media assistant and manager. And he goes to university and studies a whole different... I think he does marketing or IT. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing here is that you get all these courses as well.
Yeah.
There are lots of webinars, a lot of seminars. Dubai holds a lot of seminars about AI or social media, and a lot of them are free to go to. There's GITEX happening right now. So again, IT industry. There's always something happening here.
Yeah, that's so true actually.
That can,
always something happening here.
Exactly. There always is.
Exhibitions, seminars, this show, that show. Dubai's shopping festival or
Dubai shopping
summer festival.
Summer festivals, DSS.
So true.
And there's always something going on. And if you ever want to change your career path, there's always that option as well.
Right. stay tuned for more exciting conversations on Explore Hayat. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and we will see you in the next episode.